Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Jets beat writer predicts Justin Fields signs with New York over Steelers. Steelers pending free agent QB Justin Fields will start next season for the New York Jets, according to Zach Rosenblatt. That is the prediction he made recently as the Jets beat writer for The Athletic. One hopes with some degree of foreknowledge about the plausibility of such a claim. In an article attempting to piece together how each quarterback-needy team will ultimately settle, Rosenblatt predicted a combination of Fields and Tyrod Taylor for the team he covers. And the Steelers didn't even wind up with Russell Wilson. You'll hate his prediction even more. But he admits it was a close call between Fields landing with the Jets or Steelers. There has been a lot of buzz about the prospect of the Jets going after Justin Fields, and it makes some sense. He's young, 25, mobile, and might have some untapped potential, even if he's been inconsistent as a thrower in the NFL, Rosenblatt wrote. The most likely outcome for Fields this summer is that a team like the Jets gives him a 1 or 2 year prove-it type deal loaded with incentives, which would give him a shot at a bigger payday, a la Darnold, in a year or two. Note that Rosenblatt writes a team like the Jets to sign Fields, which could theoretically be the Steelers. But under what scenario would Fields want a 1-year deal? A 2-year deal, perhaps, which is what the Steelers would probably offer. Pittsburgh rarely offers incentive-based contracts, but they make exceptions for quarterbacks. It's worth pointing out, as he does, that Justin Fields played in college with Jets star W.R. Garrett Wilson. They were teammates for 2 seasons there in 2019-20, Fields coming out of college a year earlier. That's a little bit more significant than the youth football camps he shared with George Pickens. A former first-round pick, Justin Fields could have his option of signing with multiple teams, the Steelers and Jets arguably being the most plausible. New York is preparing to release Aaron Rodgers, while Pittsburgh only has Skylar Thompson currently under contract. He started 6 games for the Steelers a year ago, and in that time generally improved his value around the league after reaching a low point. They only gave up a conditional 6th-round pick for him, though it could have turned into a 4th-round pick. Justin Fields will want a full season to start, though, but either the Steelers or Jets would likely offer that. One thing he won't be able to control is what the team with whom he signs does in the draft. Last year, the Falcons drafted a quarterback in the 1st round after making huge commitments to Kirk Cousins. Even Rosenblatt acknowledges that the Jets could still draft a quarterback if they sign Justin Fields. But so could the Steelers, just ask Mitch Trubisky. 2024 Steelers exit meetings, DT Montravius Adams. The Steelers keep re-signing Montravius Adams, but what are they getting out of him? Most recently, they signed him in 2023 to a 2-year, $5.25 million deal. That's not exactly an exorbitant sum, mind you, and he is due all of $2,250,000 for 2025. Even if they were dissatisfied with his play, it's not like there's a ton of cap space to save. Adams missed 5 games for the Steelers last season due to injury in the middle of the year. Even prior to his injury, his playing time was pretty spotty. If anything, the Steelers played him more consistently after the fact. All told, he averaged a little over a quarter of their defensive snaps per game played. For the season, Montravius Adams registered 19 tackles, including 2 for loss. He also posted a sack, his first with the Steelers and the first since 2018. Notably, he's never been one to bat passes, with just 7 passes defensed in his career. Adams feels like the sort of player who simply has potential that he never fully lives up to. For a player of his size, he has some intriguing athleticism, but it doesn't translate as well as one might up in terms of production on the field. His 2.5 career sacks are an example of that, but he can certainly put some good rushes on tape. As a run defender, Adams' play is arguably more variable than in previous seasons. He was never the Casey Hampton style of nose tackle, but he can hold the point when he wants to. Other times, he will be easily turned or even blown over. In many ways, he is, perhaps, a poor man's Steve McClendon. The Steelers, of course, don't rely upon Montravius Adams, favoring Keanu Benton. But it wouldn't surprise anybody if they targeted a more traditional body type to play nose tackle this offseason. Even if they did, there might still be a place on the roster for Adams. But he would have to earn that spot, as well as every snap that he would play. Given recent results, nobody but Benton and Cameron Hayward should feel safe along the defensive line. Steelers can make up for trade deadline fiasco after Jets release Davante Adams. Following the NFL Combine, we learned that the Cincinnati Bengals have used the franchise tag to retain star wide receiver T. Higgins. Higgins was set to be the top free agent receiver this year, and Pittsburgh Steelers fans were optimistic they would throw their hat in the ring for a chance to sign him. But when one door closes, another door opens. On Tuesday, ESPN insider Adam Schefter reported that the New York Jets are releasing veteran wide receiver Davante Adams. The three-time first-team All-Pro and six-time Pro Bowler played 3 games with the Raiders in 2024 before being traded to the Jets before the deadline. Adams was more than halfway through the lucrative 5-year, $140 million contract he signed with Las Vegas in 2022, but the Jets couldn't stomach the cap number for the aging receiver in 2025. Now one of the best wide receivers of the past decade is ripe for the picking, and the Pittsburgh Steelers could look to make up for the trade deadline fiasco we saw in 2024. Just before the 2024 NFL trade deadline, the Pittsburgh Steelers reportedly had an interest in trading for Davante Adams, but it was the New York Jets who executed the deal with the Raiders for a conditional 2025 third-round pick. In a desperation move, Steelers general manager Omar Khan traded for underwhelming Jets wide receiver Mike Williams. While Williams did make the game-winning catch on the road against the Washington Commanders, his production wasn't worth the loss of even Day 3 draft capital. In 9 games in Pittsburgh, Williams finished with 9 catches for 132 yards. Now Williams is a free agent and the Steelers are desperate to upgrade their wide receiver room. Adams is a player Mike Tomlin has had his eyes on, and offering a deal to the 32-year-old free agent isn't out of the question. Because of his fantastic resume, Adams will be looking for one more massive payday, and the Steelers have enough cap space to make it happen. With an underwhelming free agent pool at the wide receiver position, Adams becomes one of the top choices alongside Chris Godwin and Stephon Diggs. Signing Adams won't come cheap, but the Steelers weren't able to execute trades for receiver help during the 2024 offseason. Now they can get one of the players they've targeted all along. Adams isn't the same player he was at the peak of his career from 2018 to 2022, but he would still bring a well-balanced skill set and more stability to the position than the Steelers have had in years. Expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to be in the mix for the veteran wideout when the NFL negotiation period begins ahead of free agency. And you, fan? What do you think about the situation of Davante Adams? Write to us in the comments.